Good?
Yep.
At this time, we'll set aside comments for the public and topics, city business other than those listed on the agenda for 5 minutes per topic. No one's here. Mayor's topic. Ownership of water service lines. Right now, we have it that the curb stop belongs to the city, to the main. So if a curb stop is bad, then the city has to take care of that. I'm looking at starting the ownership of the water from the main in the street to the residents, but we still own the water meter. The water meter, we charge the owner if it is damaged per se by the owner themselves in any way, then they pay for the meter.
They get the first meter put into the house at no cost. But then if something happens with the meter and it's deemed because of negligence or something that they did on their part, then they are responsible for the cost of the meter. Meters are $155, and that's for the smaller. I'd have to ask Jared for sure what the size is.
Have we had problems or what?
It's becoming kind of a problem, yeah.
Why are people touching
The
them?
water meters
3/4 inch meters.
for $155, right?
Yep.
Why are people touching them?
They're not touching them.
They're freezing and breaking.
So when the water lines freeze, and we have to shut the water off, when we come back in to turn it back on, sometimes what is happening is, it has then broke the meter because the water lines have frozen and it has affected the meter. So then we're pulling the meter, having to put a new one in. It's probably happened for a long time.
If it freezes in the house, it should be responsible of the owner of the house for neglecting
Right.
we shouldn't have to recoup or pay for the water meter for that happening. Hooking up from the main, being responsible to the owner of the house, it will put the curb stop repair to the owner at this time. We have, I don't know how many curb stops we know we have to fix in town. Those, we will honor those at this time that that need to be repaired. But after that, I think we should look into just having the connection from the main to the house, responsible of the house homeowner.
No.
I don't think so either.
No. We would be about the only city that is. I used to do the
No.
stuff for a living.
No, we're the only city around that is
I've
not.
been to other towns that they go from the main to the curb stop.
I'd put a well in first.
Yeah, I would too before I'd pay for it.
I mean, we still pay for the street, do the half and half like we're doing now. But, I mean, we can do a check and see what other cities in the area do, but we are the last ones around that still do that. I believe Shell Rock does it. I don't know if Green does it or not, but I think they do.
I'm not sure if Green does. Yeah, we're one of the last towns that own all the way from the main to the house,
We don't know the house, we own the curb
up
stop.
to the curb stop.
Help me to understand, when lines freeze in the winter, is that, that happens inside of the house or outside of the house under the ground, and then prevents
That's
water
not,
from
that's
coming?
not part of the curb stop. The curb stop is the outside of the house, far enough down that it will not freeze. But the issues is of the curb stops not being able to turn on and turn off when needed.
Oh, and that happens from the water meter at the house.
At the curb stop, we can shut the water off to the house at the curb stop.
At the curb stop, okay.
But sometimes it will freeze outside, underground to the house.
Oh, those silly cold years?
Yeah. Well, if it, like, the nursing home's got one spot underneath the road, they plow the driveway, and it'll freeze. It's a concrete, it's underneath the concrete. It freezes. So it goes into the community center. So they have to leave that rounder running all winter.
So we're looking, it costs, what, 1,000 to 2,000 or more for a curb stop repair?
Yep. That's not even, that's just the curb stop digging up and we supply the parts. So yes, I got one building that's gonna cost us anywhere from 1,500 to 2,000, just because there's a 3-inch fiber optic line beside it. I don't wanna dig it. And a gas line.
But like, you know,
Where's that at?
like in my house, I mean, that
2 of them.
curb stop has been there since God. You
So
know,
we'd have to
it's,
go around and check the curb stops
No.
and see if they actually
No.
work or what the issue, if there's an issue with them. But we know of a few that are obviously broken
I
and
know.
don't work.
5 of them right now that don't work.
Why do you know about them then? Why don't you explain to the council why you know they don't work and you know that Jen's, you don't even know about hers?
I don't know where hers is even at right now.
yeah, they couldn't even find,
It's the ones that they're constantly dealing with for non-payment of water bills that they need to get shut off and the curb stops are broken, is why they need to be fixed. Yours doesn't matter because you pay the bill. Mine don't matter. Mine might not work either, but nobody knows.
but I'm just saying, if we're gonna change that to it being the person's responsibility,
We would have to go fix them all first.
yeah,
Make sure they all work.
If the problems are at the houses where there is non-payment or behind in payment,
Yeah.
adding more costs to them to be responsible for would be more money not being paid to you because of the,
Well, if we know it doesn't work, we have to fix it. Like, that's what he's saying too. We know of 4 or 5 right now that need to be repaired, and it just hasn't been done.
like, the future cost for, from the street to,
but I'm saying if we wanted to switch it to where the people are always responsible for those curb stops, I mean, we have to go around and check every single one, and any of them that might have an issue right now, we're gonna have to pay to be fixed.
Possibly.
Yeah, probably.
Because, you know, if we would change that and, you know, like in my case, don't have any issues, no nothing, 2 years down the road, oh, we've got an issue, well, we just changed that, so now it's your responsibility. Well, what if it wasn't working before that and we just didn't, it never needed to be checked? Where, I guess I'm just saying, where do we draw the lines?
It's gonna cost more than it's worth.
Yeah, it could be costly either way. Like I said, we've been fortunate, we haven't had too many water main lines break on our own. It's just the curb stops ain't working.
You start cranking on one that hasn't been turned in years, you're gonna break it.
Some of them go easy, some of them don't. It depends on what's all down in that pipe. Like I said, I shut your dad's off there after how long, and
Yeah.
after I went like this a couple times, it broke free and turned real easy. So, like I said, some of them were good, some of them weren't.
I got
It's just a discussion.
Yeah, I'm just
So-
saying, you know, where would you draw, that would be the,
And we can talk to other towns and see how they implemented things, what they did, what their process was, kind of get some more information and bring it back to you guys then too.
Or them curb stops that need fixed, they need fixed right now.
Now the one is.
The one's getting fixed this week.
How much is that to dig it?
15 to 2.
And then are we putting disconnect and reconnect fees on?
They're not paying it, and I know it, we can't turn it off at curb. So unless we go into the house, we can't shut it off at curb.
It's what, 4 months in a row now?
I'd have to look, but
How would you shut it off in the house and secure it?
he has locks that he
You
can
put
lock it
lock on.
out.
I got lockout tagouts on if we can't get to them. After I lock it up, shut it off.
But even if you go to that extent, there's some of them that are still not gonna let us in the house. And then there's gonna be further legal costs and we've dealt with that like 2 months ago.
There's no legal way that, I mean, legally that,
You can, but it requires the work of an attorney to get an administrative warrant to go in the house to turn it off. And then chances are you go in and do that, about an hour later, they're gonna pay it. You know what I mean? We need to fix some curb stops. They definitely need to be fixed. But yours and mine and the mayor's, we could probably get by, because I pay my bill. It's the ones that are not paying their bills that are the problem.
Cause this one, the one I'm fixing this week is habitual offender, multiple times, so that's why we pulled the plug on it, it's like, we're fixing it.
I would just think there'd be some legal way that in these situations that, you know, it's like as long as an officer went with them to go in and shut it off inside.
It says that in our ordinance that we can go in, but in 2024, things are a little different than they were 20 years ago. You know what I mean? We gotta be very, very careful. And the right way to do it would be to get an administrative warrant to go in there, and then it would relieve us from the liability, because you just don't go in somebody's house anymore without a warrant. And it says right in our ordinance that Jared can go in anytime, period.
Yeah, so I
But
got,
I wouldn't recommend it. And I can't, he can.
I was curious.
When should the other ones be replaced?
We're budgeting for them for next year, to get the ones that we know are not working right, to get those repaired.
and some of them ain't just the curb stops, it's the curb stop pipe coming up that's bent. That can't get the tool down to get them shut off. So some of them ain't gonna cost as much as it's gonna be digging up, putting a new pipe in, and we're good to go again.
Well, they make a thing that goes on top too, that you clamp on, I don't know if you have any of them.
Yeah, so the pipes are bent down underground and
Right, but you can go down, cut it off.
So they'll be fine,
But I've fixed several of them, so I know it's,
they'll be fine through the winter?
and then depending on who negligently broke them is, is the next thing.
I know this one, the top is broke off, it spins. It locks on and it just sits and spins, it don't turn it. I'm like,
All right, we'll just, let that go for another discussion. We'll see what we can find out for the next meeting. Consent agenda. On this point here, from now on, instead of listing each one, we can just say approval of the consent agenda, and everything listed on there will be approved by one motion. So if anything you have, once you get your agenda and see something you would want to set aside and discuss, we can move that down, put that on the agenda and discuss it before we make a motion to.
If you see anything that needs to be pulled off of the consent agenda, if you can let me know beforehand, and we can get that moved, that would be good.
Okay.
So if you see an expense that you don't agree with, or something incorrect on minutes, or whatever it is, just let me know and we'll just pull it off and give it its own line.
Okay.
so we can get that taken.
Are you gonna continue to possibly like highlight things that are out of the ordinary?
I can, if that would be helpful, yeah. Yep.
You know, because then when you're skimming through the list, you know, yeah, that's normal, normal, normal. Is that normal or not? You know, that you get,
Yep.
So do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
Ayes?
I,
Aye.
Nay? Motion approved. No old business, new business, approval, we have some trees to cut down. Norton Tree Removal has given us some estimates here.
There's a couple of trees that, are kind of a liability of sorts. They're in the right of way, they're in the city right of way. One of them is, Teresa Herman's house at 114 North Adams. The tree is a bigger tree, it's kind of started leaning towards her house. There's not a lot of room between the tree and the house. So it has become a liability. It needs to come down. It's one that's too close to the house. We're not gonna take it down ourselves. Norton's needs to do it. And then at Sandra Silva's house at 206 South Church, it's Jared's neighbor. He noticed when we had some precipitation last week, it started, water started flowing out of the tree trunk. And so we just happened to have a tree committee person that came in, and I said, hey, can you go look at this tree? He said, yeah. I came back up. He said, that thing's hollow and needs to come down before a windstorm comes and just blows it into something it shouldn't. And that's a big tree.
Yeah.
What do you say, 7 foot around?
That's 7 foot around bottom of
the
it.
base. So those are a couple that
I don't want it to come down
need,
nice
too
shade.
bad.
though. Yeah.
So those are two that need to come down. So the Teresa Herman, it's $1,000. Sandra Silva's is $1,200.
Have a motion to approve.
Well, hold on, I'm not done yet. Does that include grinding it?
No, that's just taken down.
Well, I want a bed with grinding, if it's that big.
Well, it's pretty hollow inside. He
What?
looked inside, he looked to the side of me, he looked to the bottom.
Well, I know, but it's still gonna need ground out.
Can you do that, Jared?
Yeah,
No, well, it's gonna be too big.
it'll take us a while. So I'm paying what is it, $2 an inch, I think it says, so. On it.
Well, we'll get them cut down here and then we'll see.
Actually,
Cause we need to quit cutting down trees and just leaving the stumps. We need to cut them down and do the stumps right away.
you want the price on both of them for stumps?
Yeah,
Okay. I'll have to by that meeting.
You should throw that grinding in that price.
yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
So you're gonna have that tonight yet?
Yeah, I'll see if I can get it
All
here
right,
tonight.
so we move on.
We'll wait until later.
Oh, I want to move to item 4. Approve the implementation of social media policy.
You could do number 3.
What's that?
You could do number 3 first.
Oh, I'm sorry. Advertise approval for advertising the seasonal mowing position.
We figure we should be getting it out there. There was a couple people that have expressed interest, so hopefully it won't be too difficult just deciding if it needs to be 1 person or 2 people, just because we're in a different situation than we were last year. We had 2 part-timers. One of those part-timers did a lot of stump grinding for us, one did most of the mowing.
But we also didn't have any rain for grass to grow.
And, yes, and that's true. I mean, it just depends on the year, obviously. And it was just Jared here too. So this year we have 2 full-timers. Do we need 1 or 2 part-timers, you know, how many hours and stuff like that? So if we can get it out, get it posted,
Get out,
and then
get
kind of
posted and-
decide.
See what we need.
Mhm.
I motion to get that advertised for.
I'll
Second. Ayes,
Yep.
Yeah.
nays, motion approved. Jared, you find something?
Yep, 150 apiece.
150 per stump.
Yep.
which when you figure it would take you how many hours to get them ground,
Yeah.
it would be cheaper to just go ahead and pay him to do it when they cut it down.
He cut a price right now, he said, if we do them right now, I'm not busy, I'll do it for $150 apiece. So,
You have a motion for that price to do that?
All motion.
I'll second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Those against, the nays? Motion approved. Okay, now we'll do 4, approval of implementation of social media policy. We all got something in our packet for that?
I had Holly Corkery, our attorney, look this over. It's just a template that another city uses. And it's probably time that we implemented something just to kind of protect everybody. There is lots of stipulations that go behind how you can filter or remove comments, which you can't, from your social media if it's a city-run site or if you're representing the city. There's lots involved with it, so just protecting everybody, it would be good to implement this sooner rather than later.
So what she think?
She made a few changes, just some wording changes, but she thought this was a good one to go off of, because it was very broad, it incorporated everything.
Broad.
Motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All 4?
Yep.
Yep.
Yes.
Nays? Motion passed. More discussion on the change of the water and sewer rate increase. It's something I think we're going to have to do. We'll have to decide how much. I mean, last year, I believe it was 7% increase,
That's 7%, not $7, 7%.
7%.
I think 10% this time.
You're kind of playing catch up a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it hadn't been done for a few years, and I get it. Like, they wanted to keep costs down. However, now it's kind of catching up with us too, and like you guys said before, planning ahead for the future. Anything that we bring in that we don't use one year just gets rolled over to the next year and stays in that water fund or the sewer fund. It doesn't go anywhere else. So, 5 years down the road, we have a little bit built up in our water and it needs, hydrants repaired or whatever. We can pull from that money instead of taking out an additional loan for every little thing that you want to get done. So that's kind of the reason behind it.
I feel like 10%, because we need to keep rolling ahead. I mean, sooner or later, whether we go 5% now, it's gonna end up at 10% down the road anyway, so. I feel make the jump now.
The other thing is, when you talk to other towns, and then Maggie Berger that's with Spear Financial, she's kind of looking over some stuff, and her and I are gonna start talking about a few things. So if you're not at a certain rate for your water and sewer, when you go to take a loan out for a big project, you might not be eligible for some grants or some funding that's out there because your prices aren't where they need to be. So that's the other thing to kind of think about, is if you are too low on your water and sewer, you won't qualify. If you're too high, same thing. So that's something that she can look at too, is seeing if we're where we need to be, if we need to increase, or we stay where we're at. She can kind of take a look at that too.
When are we gonna know about this?
When you gonna know? She was gonna contact me.
Before the next meeting, or are we gonna know?
I didn't get a timeline from her. She had some other items that were on her plate, so she hadn't gotten back to me, but I had sent back the contract and everything that you guys had decided on last meeting. And then she was out of the office for the rest of that week, and so the next week she had gotten in touch and said she would start looking things over and coming up with what we need to discuss.
It would be nice maybe if we wait in case we gotta up it a little more or whatever she'd think.
I can try to get a timeline from her too, as far as that.
We kind of talked between 10 and 12, I think last time.
I was thinking at 10%, and I mentioned like a 1% increase for a period of 4 years,
Yeah, that's what I would,
you know,
but we'll have to see, it'd be nice to see what she has
what
to
she
say.
has
Yeah.
to say, yeah.
And then, cause if she says the same thing, maybe, let's say she comes with 15%, then we can do like 2 or 1% over the next couple of years or whatever.
To keep
Yeah.
it going, yeah, so you don't wanna fall behind on.
We gotta start somewhere and get ahead.
Talking about tax levy too. Are we?
What's that? Are we going to?
Yeah, we're talking about tax levy.
We're not gonna talk about tax levy, we're gonna set a public hearing date for
Yeah.
the tax levy part, yeah.
So we're doing that and that, it's gonna add up.
We're not looking at increasing things a whole lot either, so,
No.
we're at a good spot for that, we're not up here where we're gonna be increasing. Your taxes are probably gonna increase.
I know we have to, but
I mean,
I
but,
just don't want 1,400 people in here snorting.
Yeah,
right.
It's just a hard decision, but we gotta do something because
I
of
know,
the
but-
past, but.
So, a couple of the things that go into, like, looking at the tax levy is, employee benefits, insurance rates, I mean, we all know, our insurance went up 30%, I mean, it's just,
Yeah,
so, being a little bit, not creative, but looking at other areas that we can pull money from to help pay for our loans, because the loan part of it goes into what happens with your taxes
you
too.
got people out there with jobs, this is the same things happen to them too. And you wanna take money out of their billfolds.
Well, that's why we're trying to
I
use
I
the
know
money
what
that
you're
we
saying,
already.
but I'm just telling you.
Yeah, well, and that local option money that's coming in, that's getting dispersed differently, so some of that is going towards your debt. So it's
Yeah.
helping to pay down that debt and to pay, to essentially make those payments, so that I'm not sitting and asking you every year for that. We're using that money to help offset that, so our tax asking is not as much.
I understand where you're coming from, but I'm understanding what's happened to them too.
Oh, I know, I mean, my taxes are going up too. We
Yeah,
just
I
don't-
know.
I mean,
There's not one thing that we've received that says it's going down, or staying steady, everything is
We're in
going
a
up.
rock and a hard place.
So we have a motion to approve for the public hearing on March 26th.
so what is our proposed tax levy?
I'm not quite finished with that yet, I mean, I can pull it up, if you wanna see it.
But it-
Got your 2005 Caddy, 171,000 miles. I see you driving that.
Back of it.
Looks like it.
There's our new cop car.
We need to cut them down.
He was talking about it this week, we got approved.
That's all right.
Okay, so our city regular tax rate for 23-24 was 15.72893. And the proposed this year would be 15.18450.
Oh, so actually went
They're
down
actually asking
less.
almost less, but not going over that max. So it's like right around an 18% change. If you look at, if I can flip this way, if you can understand. So current year and budget year and the change. So we're looking at using our lost money, some extra money that's in a project equipment fund, which was like 31,000 in there. Whether that was from some loans or something that were taken out and they just weren't used towards the purchase of whatever, there's still money sitting there. So why not use it? Because our end loader payment is about 31,000, 32,000 a year. So using that money to help pay for that instead of pulling everything from our roads. Just kind of using some of the money that we already have coming in to pay for those loans
Okay.
is gonna help quite a bit.
So at least, so the tax levy's not going up
It's not going crazy for sure.
No.
You're not asking for,
more than what we were.
right. Yep. Trying to keep that down to more a manageable level because like I said, there's nothing that's going down. There's, the cost of everything is staying right where it's at, if not going up. We get that. That's why we're trying to kind of curb this a little bit, as much as we can anyway. So this public hearing, so I told you guys kind of, there's a little difference going on this year. By March 15th, we have to have all of our information into these state forms so that the auditor's office can access them. We have to have our date and time for the public hearing. We've been told it cannot be before March 25th. They wouldn't recommend before the 25th because on March 15th, they're gonna send out information to all homeowners this year, which is gonna be different than it has been in years past. They're gonna kind of give you a breakdown of what your taxes are and if they're going city, school, county, what your taxes are going for. Whether it's gonna be cut and dry or if it's gonna be very confusing and we're gonna have a bunch of people in here, nobody really knows. So by the 15th, those are supposed to go out the door. It gives them 10 days, everybody 10 days to get that information, if they have questions or comments, and then they can attend the public hearing if they want, to talk about their taxes or talk about what we're proposing. It can be the only item on the agenda, so it might be a 2-minute meeting or 2 hours, I don't know. Last year, I don't think we had anybody show up for it. So it's just different this year. And so I think it may be a little bit more confusing, I think, to people, just because they're gonna get something in the mail. Either people are gonna look at it or they're gonna throw it and be like, it's probably just trash, right? So,
Okay. Motion to approve the public hearing.
Second,
I'll second.
second. Any ayes?
Yep.
Nays? Motion approved. Okay, approval resolution 24-1, setting forth a proposal to vacate West Weir Street from South Traer Street to South Brom Street.
so this is, in front of VT. Just vacating that road in between VT and, the property owners on the north side of the road. This is just setting the public hearing for that proposal. And it is gonna be set for our regular meeting on March 4th at 6:30. So that'll be the first thing on the agenda.
I'll make that motion.
Second,
I'll second that.
all four,
Aye.
Yes.
and nays, motion approved.
Roll call vote.
Roll call vote, Jesse, I'm sorry, Jen,
Yes.
Jesse,
Yes.
Roger,
Yes.
Ruth,
Yes.
Taryn.
Yes.
My appointments for, that I made for the committees. I'll go over them quick here. I just need to mention them as all we're doing. Jen is Mayor Pro Tem. Public Safety, Taryn and Jesse. Public Works, Ruth and Roger. Culture Recreation, Jesse and Ruth. Community and Economic Development, Jen and Roger. Employee Relations, Jen and Taryn. Nuisance Committee, Jen and Jesse. And the EMS and Fire Agency Committee, Taryn and Roger. Just had to bring them up and mention them to everybody.
Any problems with any of those? You guys are
Are
all
we
good with
fine with
those?
that?
Is it okay that, the solid waste that's empty, is there, at a,
On the what?
the,
There's not a committee on there?
right, is it okay that there's not a committee, and up to the
Oh, the
general
general-
government, those blank spots, do you need volunteers, or are they good to sit, without anyone?
I don't know, do we need, or they were committees that were left vacant
Yeah, they were left
through
vacant.
the last, for how long?
Ah,
So the template that we used was an older template, and the last mayor didn't.
Does Jeff Kolb still volunteer for the Butler County Solid Waste or not?
I don't know if he still sits on the board, I think he
I
does.
think I was there, he was there.
Okay.
Yeah, he's part of that, yeah.
Yeah. And they're pretty good, like the Butler County Transfer Station, if there's something that's gonna change, they try to tell us ahead of time. And then there's meetings and things that we get invited to. So they're good at communicating, and if something would come up, I mean, we can definitely bring it back to you guys. If it becomes more of an issue where we think maybe there needs to be a committee, then, you know, he can make a committee, or you guys can talk about that too.
thank you.
We're gonna buy a garbage truck. You're gonna drive a garbage truck.
You know, I'm
Well,
on
look, you have a
Facebook Marketplace
CDL.
for 60,000. I think the garbage can cost more than the garbage truck.
To see, also appointment, the city attorney was also on there. Mentioning that was too.
Motion to approve?
For committees,
For the attorney?
oh,
Uh,
the resolution.
resolution,
Oh, okay.
resolution. Yeah, we can move on to that. Revolution 24-2 for appointing the city attorney.
Motion to approve.
So I was gonna say, we just kind of changed this from last time. The way that it read before was that, this resolution was only good through the end of the last mayor's term, so we just kind of updated it as far as that, left everything the same.
Is that how, it works, that the mayor chooses the city attorney, so, okay, so
With approval of the council.
this
Yeah.
becomes
Yep.
pretty regular, that, I mean, you know, that, we'll see this again, okay.
Yeah.
We had a first motion, we have a second motion.
I'll second.
Second, we need a roll call vote for that.
Do ayes and nays first.
Oh, I'm sorry, ayes,
Yes.
anybody against, nays? Roll call vote, Jim,
Yes.
Jesse,
Yes.
Roger,
Yep.
Ruth.
Yes.
Karen.
Yep.
And I believe that should be all for tonight. Adjourned.
I'll make that motion.
No.
Roger likes to make the motion to
Oh,
adjourn.
I'm sorry.
I'll second.
I'm sorry.
All those in favor?
All those in
Yes.
favor? All those
Aye.
in favor? Anybody against adjourning?
Yes, please.
And he made 2 people today.
You wanna just hand me a pen so I
I'll
can
do
fill
it.
that down there?
This is not contagious. I got into something I'm allergic to today, and any more allergy medicine, I'm gonna need someone to drive me home.
I
Oh,
can do that if you wanna squeeze my little car.
Say, I can take you too.
no, the worst was driving a bus though. Because when you sneeze, your
You need our
eyes
set,
close.
you